It happens without warning. You are in the shower or almost asleep or standing in line somewhere buying coffee, and then suddenly it is there. A memory. Not a good one. Something you said at a party 4 years ago that landed wrong. A moment in school where everyone turned to look at you. A conversation where you said exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time. And your body responds as if it is happening right now. Your face flushes. Your stomach drops. You might actually wince or shake your head or say something out loud to no one. Something like, no, stop, or why, or just a sound that has no word attached to it. You were not thinking about that. You did not choose to remember it. It found you. So why does your brain do this? Why does it reach back through years, sometimes decades, and replay the moments you would most like to forget? Why does embarrassment have a memory of its own, one that seems immune to time and resistant to reason? The answer is older than language, and it starts not with psychology, but with survival. To understand why your brain stores humiliation the way it does, you have to understand what embarrassment actually is. Not what it feels like, but what it is for. Because emotions, from an evolutionary standpoint, are not random. They are not glitches. Every emotion your ancestors carried was a tool. It solved a specific problem that kept them alive. Psychologist Dacher Keltner, who has spent decades studying the social function of emotions at UC Berkeley, argues that embarrassment is fundamentally a submission signal. It is not about feeling bad. It is about broadcasting to your group that you know you violated a social norm, that you recognize the transgression, and that you are not a threat to the order of the tribe. Think about what happens to your body when you feel embarrassed. Your gaze drops. Your shoulders curve inward. You look away. Your face goes red. These are not random reactions. They are the physical language of deference. They are your body saying without words, I know. I know I got that wrong. I am not challenging anyone. I am still one of you. In a small tribe of 150 people, that signal mattered enormously. Getting it wrong, violating a norm around food sharing or mating or status or territory, and then failing to signal remorse was potentially fatal. The group could cut you off. And in the ancestral environment, being cut off from the group was not a social inconvenience. It was a death sentence. This is why the emotion exists. But it still does not explain why the memory loops. For that, you need to understand how the brain prioritizes what it keeps. Neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux, whose research on the amygdala transformed how scientists think about emotional memory, found that the brain does not store all memories equally. Emotional intensity is the filing system. The stronger the emotional charge attached to an experience, the deeper and more permanently it is encoded. This is why you remember exactly where you were when something shocking happened. It is why you can recall a single embarrassing moment from third grade with perfect clarity, but cannot remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, tags certain memories as important. It flags them. It says this one matters, hold on to this one, we may need this again. And embarrassment, with its cocktail of social fear and status anxiety and exposure, triggers that flag almost every time. Your brain is not tormenting you when it replays that moment. It is trying to protect you. It is running a simulation, a rehearsal. The logic buried somewhere beneath conscious awareness goes something like this. That situation cost you social standing once. Maybe it could happen again. Maybe if you review it enough times, you will understand what went wrong. Maybe you will be better prepared next time. This is what researchers call counterfactual thinking, the brain generating alternative versions of events, not out of masochism, but out of a drive to learn and prevent future damage. Psychologist Neil Rose, who has studied counterfactual thinking extensively, found that these mental replays almost always serve a preparatory function. They are not punishment, they are practice. But here is where the ancient system breaks down in the modern world. In the ancestral environment, the social group was fixed. You saw the same 150 people every day. If you embarrassed yourself in front of the tribe, you had to repair that relationship. You had to go back and face those people tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. The social stakes were permanent and concrete, so the rehearsal made sense. Running the memory again and again had a clear purpose. You needed to figure out how to go back in. Now, the embarrassing moment from 4 years ago happened in front of people you will likely never see again, or in a social media comment section, or at a work event where you have since changed jobs. The context is gone. The social consequence has long since dissolved. But your brain does not know that. Your brain is still operating on the assumption that the tribe is watching, that the 150 people who define your survival are all aware of what happened, that you need to keep rehearsing because you are going to have to face them again tomorrow. The loop continues because the ancient system has no off switch for situations it was never designed to encounter. Psychologist Mark Baldwin at McGill University found that people who score high on social anxiety show a specific pattern in these memory loops. They do not just replay the embarrassing event, they replay it from the outside. They see themselves as others saw them in that moment. The brain shifts perspective, taking the vantage point of the imagined audience, and evaluates the self through those imagined eyes. This is sometimes called the spotlight effect, a term developed by researchers Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky, who found that people consistently overestimate how much others notice and remember their mistakes. In studies, people who spilled something on their shirt, or said something awkward, or showed up late, believed that others remembered and judged the moment far more than they actually did. The spotlight that feels so blinding exists almost entirely in your own mind. Your brain is performing for an audience that left the building years ago. So what do you do with this? The first thing is to recognize the loop for what it actually is. Not evidence that you are broken or uniquely prone to failure. Not proof that the moment was as catastrophic as it feels. The loop is your threat detection system doing its job. It is just doing it in a world where the original threat no longer exists. Psychologist Kristin Neff, whose research on self-compassion at the University of Texas has shifted how therapists think about shame and rumination, found that the single most effective interruption to the loop is not positive thinking or distraction. It is recognition that the experience is shared. The moment you genuinely understand that every human being has a mental reel of these moments, that embarrassment and the memory loop that follows it are not personal failures, but universal biological features, the grip of the loop loosens. You are not replaying your worst moments because you are weak. You are replaying them because you are human. Because somewhere inside the brain you are walking around with today, there is a system that evolved to keep a small, frightened primate safe inside a group it desperately needed to belong to. That system does not know the party was 4 years ago. It does not know the people there have moved on or moved away or forgotten entirely. It only knows that belonging matters, that being seen and accepted by the group is the difference between survival and death. And so it keeps the memory close. It keeps rehearsing. It keeps asking quietly, behind everything else you are thinking, did we fix it? Are we still one of them? Are we safe? Tonight, when a memory finds you in the shower or on the edge of sleep, you will know what is actually happening. Not weakness, not damage, just an ancient system doing the only thing it has ever known how to do, trying to bring you home.